Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. We hope you enjoyed that brief snippet of what life is like at U of A Law. And as well, the coffee outside, who was provided by Steve, who runs our cafe downstairs. So if you have a chance to run into him, please thank you for providing that. Before we get on with the program, we'd like to briefly introduce ourselves and cover a few housekeeping items. My name is Farah.
I'm Marcus.
And we will be your co-hosts for this morning. I was born and raised in Calgary, and I studied health sciences at the University of Calgary before coming to law school here. I'm in my second year, and I've been involved with the recruitment committee, law show, and student legal services.
And I'm Marcus Osterwerka. I'm a second-year student. I'm from Edmonton originally. I did my undergrad here at the U of A in finance. I still currently am in Edmonton. I live with my parents, who are coincidentally here today because my younger brother's in a law school. I'm sorry, I just had to earn some brownie points. I will, however, be taking a gigantic leap when I'm done law school, going all the way down Highway 2 to Article in Calgary at Blake Castles in Graydon. Now that you know a little bit about us, we just want to cover a couple housekeeping items before we get into the substantive part of today's program. First of all, I just want to make note that the presentations today are going to be videotaped so that we can put them online so students who couldn't be here can watch them. So the important thing to note is that only the speakers are going to be videotaped, so anyone in the front row, don't worry, you're not going to be on camera. If you occasionally catch us glimpsing towards this gentleman right here, we're just paying attention to our online fan base. The next thing to note is just the bathrooms. We are here for 4 hours. It's quite a long day. To access the bathrooms, you just simply go down the main stairwell, which you came up to get your swag bags. If you're going to the women's washroom, hang a right at the base of the stairwell. If you're going to the men's, hang a left. And I mentioned the swag bags. There's all sorts of goodies in there. I'm not going to discuss what's in there, but there is some important information, and various speakers will be referencing it throughout the day as they make their presentations. And now I'll just give you a brief roadmap of where we're kind of going with the program today. Over the next hour or so, we're going to be hearing from various speakers who are going to be giving you their insight as to some of the benefits and advantages and opportunities that attending law school at the University of Alberta present. After that, we're going to break off into our Knowledge Cafe portion of the day, at which point you're going to be broken off into smaller groups and go on various tours of the law school. Now you all have your name tags and you have group numbers indicated on your name tags. Your groups will be led by student volunteers. One of the big benefits of attending law school here is our incredibly active student body. So we have over 60 student volunteers who will be helping to facilitate the Knowledge Cafe. They're all wearing name tags, they're all very friendly, and they also importantly have certain activities listed on their name tag, which indicates things that they're involved with. So if you've heard about student legal services and you're interested in it, and you see someone wearing a name tag indicating that they participate in that, please feel free to ask them about it. Ask them what student legal services is like, or ask me what it's like to get tackled on the rugby pitch. These are all questions we're more than willing to answer, and we just hope that it'll help you kind of gain a little bit more insight into what attending law school at the University of Alberta is all about. And the last housekeeping matter, probably the most important, is lunch. We're lucky enough to have it catered by the Upper Crust. It's going to be taking place, at noon, just outside the main doors to 237 on the second floor. You're going to be breaking from your Knowledge Cafe group leaders. Lunch will run until 1 p.m. and you'll arrange a meeting place so that you can commence your Knowledge Cafe tour after lunch, and we'll eventually end up back here to finish the day. One final thing before we jump into things. This is going to be our home base for the day. I know we weighed you down with about 10 magazines in your swag bag, so you might not want to be carrying that around the next hour and a half or trying to juggle it while you eat lunch. So there will be people here in this room for the entirety of the day, so feel free to leave your jackets, your bags, other things like that. Probably take your valuables with you, but other than that, we'll be here, so feel free to leave it. Other than that, I'm going to pass over to Farah, who will introduce our first speaker.
Thanks, Marcus. So I'd like to introduce one of the most pleasant and approachable people you'll meet at our law school, our Dean, Philip Bryden. He completed his undergraduate degree at Dalhousie University and went on to study law at Oxford University as a Rhodes Scholar, and he was a varsity volleyball player at both schools. He later obtained his master's in law at Harvard University, and Dean Bryden also clerked at the Supreme Court of Canada under Madam Justice Wilson and has practiced law in New York and Vancouver. He taught law at the University of British Columbia for several years, where he was the associate dean, and then went on to become the dean of law at the University of New Brunswick. We're proud to say that since 2009, he's been the dean of our law school, so please join me in welcoming Dean Bryden.
Thank you very much, Cara. The mic is for the benefit of the cameras. So welcome everyone to the Faculty of Law at the University of Alberta. And I want to congratulate the admitted students on their offer of admission to the University of Alberta Faculty of Law. It's really hard to get into this law school. We had more than 1,400 applications. We gave out some 300 offers, and we'll have an entering class of 175 students. So it's tough to make the first cut, and then you've got a challenging decision in front of you. We understand that not all of you will come to law school here at U of A. Many of you have offers for more than one law school, and you're making a decision why come here as opposed to somewhere else. And while we're here today partly in order to give our sales pitch and to try to convince you to come to law school here at U of A, we want you to do it understanding the kind of law school we are. And we think we're a terrific law school. The nice thing for those of you who have offers for more than one law school is there are no bad law schools in Canada. So you can't make any bad choices. In more than 25 years of law teaching in Canada, I've known faculty members from every law school in this country, and I suppose at one time or another I've been to most of them, and they all offer a quality legal education. But there are differences, and we want to tell you today about what makes our law school special. I also wanted to extend a welcome to family members. This is a big choice not only for your son or daughter or spouse, but for the family. You know, it's not just a big investment financially, although it is that. It's also a big investment of time and energy, and you know, law students need some support along the way. We like to think that we have an environment that creates that kind of support here, but it makes a big difference how people are feeling at home, and so I'm glad that that you've felt comfortable coming here and helping your son or daughter or spouse or friend make a really big decision. We flip to the next slide. So why choose the University of Alberta Law School as opposed to one of the others? And I think it's always important to try to start with the basics. And the basics are the program and who's delivering the program. And we have, I think, one of the strongest programs in the country. You know, all law schools in Canada can deliver the same core program. But the differences from a programmatic standpoint tend to be on a spectrum between a very highly optional program and a much more structured program. And we are on the much more structured program end of the spectrum. So when I was at UBC, UBC was very much on the optional program end of the spectrum. When I was at UNB, UNB was very much like us on the structured end of the program. Now, why is it good to be on the structured end of the program? Well, if you talk to lawyers, they like people who have a broadly based core experience. When you go into professional practice of law, you're never quite sure how it's going to work out. When I went to law school in Oxford, I thought I was going to do criminal law. The last thing that I thought I would be doing is antitrust litigation in the United States. But that's what I ended up doing when I graduated. And when I moved out to the University of British Columbia, I decided to get called to the bar there, and ended up doing labor and employment law on a part-time basis with a national firm. So having a solid grounding made a big difference to me in terms of my ability to adapt to the environment that I was working in. And we think that that works for our students. And so that's why we structure the program the way we do. Interestingly, a couple of years ago, the Federation of Canadian Law Societies started to develop standards for law school programs in Canada. Up until that time, the standards had been somewhat variable, and the profession decided, for a variety of reasons, that it was important to have a baseline standard for all Canadian law schools to enable people to transition into professional practice across the country. And the interesting thing is that the Federation of Law Societies moved towards a required curriculum that looks an awful lot more like the University of Alberta's curriculum than the University of British Columbia's curriculum. So I think that within the profession, the general drift is toward the kind of core program that we offer. What makes us different from a school like the University of New Brunswick and other small schools is the breadth of our program. So we can not only offer you a solid core program, but we can offer you breadth of a program taught by some of the best people in the country. If we can move to the next slide. So some of my colleagues have put a lot of energy into developing the core casebooks for the core subject. So David Percy's contract book is one that not only will you use in first year at U of A if you come here, but it's used across the country. Same with Lewis Clark's torts book. Same with Bruce Iff's property book. Modestly, we didn't put up my book on public law, but it's used across the country too. So we have a lot of people who are doing the kind of work in terms of legal education that's used across Canada. We also have people who work in specialized areas. These may not be of interest to every one of you, and I'm not going to try to highlight all of the specialized areas that we have at the University of Alberta. But let me start with the area of energy law, and two of the faculty members who teach in the energy law area are my predecessor as dean, David Percy, and our former vice dean, Wayne Renke. And one of the interesting things about David is that he's one of four members of our faculty who've won the top university undergraduate teaching award at at U of A, the Rutherford Award. So if you think about it, we have a faculty with about 35 people, and four of them have won the top teaching award, not just in this faculty, but at the University of Alberta. So we have a group of people who are not only great scholars, nationally recognized, but who are also great teachers. The next area is health law. And this is an area that we specialize in at the faculty. And here are 3 faculty members, Aaron Nelson, Tim Caulfield, and Gerald Robertson, who are all nationally and internationally recognized in the health law field. Tim, you can see all of his chairs, and Tim's a bit of an academic rock star. He delivers lectures around the world. He actually was a rock star before he went to law school here at U of A. You know, Gerald's enormously well regarded from Scotland. Originally came to Canada, and Aaron's one of our graduates who went on to do a doctorate at Columbia and does a lot of work with the College of Physicians and Surgeons here. One of the things that we pride ourselves on at the University of Alberta is how we're integrated with the profession and the community. So a lot of my colleagues not only are well-regarded scholars, but they're people who do work with the lawyers who practice at the cutting edge, particularly here in Alberta, or work with public organizations that you know, take advantage of their expertise. The next area is international law. And my colleagues Linda Reif and Joanna Harrington. Linda is, again, somebody whose expertise is used by the Government of Canada in doing trade arbitrations. She's somebody who's internationally recognized for her work on ombudspeople and international human rights. Joanna is somebody who's been seconded to the Canadian Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. She's a winner of the Martha Cook Piper Research Award a couple of years ago. Again, a university-wide research award. Done some really groundbreaking work on the International Criminal Court, well regarded internationally. And next one, the Aboriginal law area. Kathy Bell is one of the leading scholars in Canada, I would say the leading scholar in Canada on Métis rights. She's also internationally recognized for her work in the area of Aboriginal cultural property. And she's also somebody who's won community awards for her work with the Aboriginal community here in Alberta, the Aboriginal Justice Award. Val Napoleon is somebody who's had a lot of experience in treaty making before she decided to go to law school at the University of Victoria. She's regarded as one of the up-and-coming scholars in Canada on Indigenous legal traditions. Her doctoral thesis at the University of Victoria last year won the Governor General's Gold Medal as the top doctoral thesis at that university. And I could go on to say more about the kinds of outstanding individuals that teach at this law school. The other thing that I think is an exciting opportunity for students here is the whole area of internships and experiential learning. And there are 2 ways that you can get involved with learning about how law works by being engaged in it. And one is through voluntary activity through Student Legal Services, the largest student-run law clinic in the country. And I'm not going to talk about that because that's not part of our curriculum, but it is an exciting opportunity, and you'll hear more about it later today. In terms of our curriculum, we do have a clinical program that we created last year in cooperation with Edmonton Community Legal Services and some other community partners. And what we do in all of these internship opportunities is work with an organization in the community to try to get you some experience for which you can get academic credit. And you'll see there are a large number, more I think than any law school in the country. We also have, I think, one of the best, if not the best, support staffs in the country. And you'll get to meet many of them today. We, I think, do a great job in terms of helping our students on the career side. If you are experiencing difficulties, we do have personal counseling services, and we can refer you to other kinds of services. We have great IT support. We have one of the best law libraries in the country. And we have, I think, one of the most outstanding student bodies. I mean, in a certain sense, the best thing I could do is sit down and just let you get to know our students, because I think when you get to know our students, you will find I'd like to be part of that group. You know, I've had wonderful experiences here, and it's hard to do in a school our size. Ours is on the bigger end of the law school spectrum. I think we had a lot of positive school spirit at the University of New Brunswick. It's a little bit easier to do because the school was less than half the size of the University of Alberta. And I think the culture of our law school is to get people engaged, to create opportunities for them to be part of a community. And as a result of that, you find that people are going away from here with lifelong friendships, with a sense that they belong to a special place, and that lasts with them over the years. And we have people coming back to class reunions who graduated more than 50 years ago. And part of my job is to go to the annual class reunions, and we'll run 10 reunions in a given fall, because everybody on a 5-year cycle wants to get back together with their classmates, and I think that's an extraordinarily positive statement about our school. And as the next slide suggests, we do have a wonderful student community. And you'll hear a lot more about it and the kinds of clubs and organizations and activities that students can engage in. Let me just give you one example that is one of my personal favorites. Every year, and you've seen examples of the kind of thing that goes on at Law Show in the videos. Our students run a variety show called Law Show in order to raise money for charity. And over the last 3 years, they've raised over $80,000 for the Alberta Women's Shelter, running variety shows that run for 2 nights sometime in January or February. It's been my privilege the last couple of years to participate in Law Show, and it's an enormous amount of fun. And we have, of a student body of about 500, we have generally upwards of 200 students actually participating in the show in one way or another, singing, dancing, acting, in the band, doing the production side of it. And to me, that's a tremendous kind of commitment and experience. Some of my colleagues think sometimes that the students put a little bit too much energy that could go into their classwork in January and February, but they all seem to recover in time for exams. And I think that's a terrific example of the kinds of activity that goes on here that makes you feel part of community. So when you look at student satisfaction at the University of Alberta Law School, we're part of a consortium that surveys students. We do it every year, other Canadian law schools do it every 2 years. And we have a survey that is developed by the University of Indiana that's used across the country and that's used at some law schools in the United States. And there are a couple of questions that they ask. And one of them is, if you could start over again, would you go to the same law school you're now attending? And over 87% of U of A students said yes. That's significantly higher than the national average for Canadian law schools. You know, law school is a challenging experience, and you know, not everybody feels that they fit in. But this is a really good indication that our students feel good about the choice that they've made to come to the U of A. Same sort of thing when you ask them, what was your impression of your entire educational experience? And 83% of our students are rating that experience as excellent. Again, significantly better than the national average in Canada. I think you'll also find that when you graduate, that you'll have terrific career opportunities. This is particularly true if you want to practice law in Alberta, but we have graduates, a fair number of graduates who practice in British Columbia. We have graduates who practice in Toronto. I was visiting one of our graduates from 2009 a couple of weeks ago who practices in New York City. We have people who practice law in China. We have people who practice law in the United Kingdom. You know, so there is a wonderful world of opportunity, and I think Pat Neal, our career services person, does a terrific job in giving you advice about careers, helping you with your career development. And I think because we have that solid, broadly based curriculum, our students are at a premium in the, you know, in the professional marketplace, certainly in Alberta and in other parts of Canada as well. So I think that you will have lots of opportunities. There are lots of different ways to be successful in legal practice. I always practiced in big firms, but that's not the only way to practice. There are small firms, there's government, there's a lot of different opportunities, and I think that a U of A law degree will give you a really good shot in the career market. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the facilities here, and this is Steve McDermott of the Hello My Friend Cafe, and you know, unfortunately, this is not the best example of our facilities. This is actually the worst teaching room in the law school, but it happens to be the biggest one, and so you know, it's the one that we have to use. But I would encourage you to go around and see some of the other teaching facilities. The other thing that it's useful to recognize is that the reason we have such good facilities is through, by and large, the generation of our alumni. So if you go downstairs to the Frank and Beverly McGinnis Center, that's a renovation that took place 2 years ago, and it was made possible by a gift from Frank McGinnis, a graduate of our law school, and his wife Beverly, and that was a gift of $2.5 million. So Frank's obviously been very successful financially, and was willing to make that kind of a contribution to our school. But around the school, you'll see different rooms that have been sponsored by law firms, sponsored by alumni, and we haven't stopped. So if we take a look at this slide, this is a slide of what our student common room is going to look like 2 years from now, because we have a donor who's sort of this far away from making a commitment to $1 million gift that will enable us to make that renovation. It's a nice enough facility now. The Gavel's a lot of fun. It's pleasant. But again, these are things that we're able to do to make this a very comfortable and enjoyable environment. And we're able to do it because the people who came here before you cared enough about their experience that they want to help us out, and they're willing to reach into their wallets and give us support in really significant ways. So I think that it's a wonderful community to belong to. I've been thrilled to be here for the last couple of years, and I hope that it's a community that you'll want to belong to as well. And I really encourage you to think seriously about the opportunities that we're able to make available. Take the time to walk around the building today, and most importantly, take the time to talk to our students. Our students can tell the story way better than I can, and I think that once you've had a chance to talk to them, you'll think, gee, this is the kind of place that I want to come to as well. So have a great day, and I will be happy to talk to any of you during the course of the day. I'll be around. My colleagues will be around as well. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Dean Bryden. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Law, John Law. Professor Law is a graduate of the University of Alberta. He also has obtained an LLM from Dalhousie. He was called to the Alberta Bar in 1974, and since this time has held many notable positions throughout his career. He served as the Executive Director of the Legal Education Society of Alberta. He's been appointed to the University of Alberta Board of Governors, and he spent 2006 as the Scholar in Residence with the Law School Admission Council in Newton, Pennsylvania, which is the first such honor for a Canadian law professor. So if you'll please join me in welcoming Vice Dean John Law.
Thank you. Do I need to wear this microphone? Couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt? Maybe it could help. Okay. I'm all in favor of that. All right. Thank you very much for those kind words of introduction. My task today is to speak about the academic experience. It's a somewhat daunting task to describe initially in 20 minutes, and I guess I'm down to 15 minutes, what many of you will spend the next 3 years experiencing. For obvious reasons, you may find my remarks too general or perhaps inadequate, and I will be hard-pressed to find humor in talking about curriculum. I ask for your understanding. However, I could assure you and can assure you that should you decide to come to our faculty, I and my colleagues will use every effort and will be delighted to answer any and all questions that you may have. First of all, let me add my welcome to those of others. We are delighted that you've decided to attend our faculty or are thinking very seriously about doing so. For those of you who are undecided, I hope my remarks can tilt your decision into our favor. We'll start with the academic experience. As the Dean has indicated, and as I believe, we offer our students an outstanding academic opportunity. Our program is designed to serve the mission of the faculty, which is multifaceted and extends beyond the preparation of students for the practice of law. Our primary mission is to provide our students with a general legal education in the fundamental principles of law, the components of the Canadian legal system, and the history and philosophy of law. With such a general education in hand, our graduates are qualified to article and ultimately practice law in Alberta and other common law jurisdictions in Canada, and are trained in the legal aspects of government and business administration. There are two primary components in the pursuit of our mission. One, our curriculum of required and optional courses, and our cadre of full-time and sessional faculty. I turn to the curriculum first. Our curriculum, in terms of structure and content, as the Dean has pointed out, is similar to that of most other Canadian common law schools. Indeed, this may work against my view that you should choose us, However, the quality of Canadian legal education is high, and we rank in the upper echelon of that education. Like the JD program and all other Canadian common law schools, our program is 3 years in duration, 92 credits in total. Like our counterparts across Canada, the first year of the program is mandatory, as it is viewed as a foundational year, designed to teach students the architecture and vocabulary of law, the case study method, the fundamental rules of public and private law, and to begin the development of legal writing, research, and oral advocacy skills. You will learn the basic concepts, rules, and doctrines of contract law, tort law, property law, criminal law, constitutional law, and you will learn the basic skills of legal research and writing and be exposed to oral advocacy through the first year moot exercise. Moreover, through a course called Foundations, you will be exposed to legal methods and the important understanding that the law and the legal system are not autonomous and operate in the context of a larger society, polity, and economy. With this in hand, you will move to the upper level program, which consists of your second and third years in law school. In this part of the program, you must accumulate at least 60 credits through the successful completion of 7 required or compulsory courses and at least 13 optional courses. The required courses augment the mandatory first-year courses in addressing the core competencies associated with preparation for the practice of law. These courses are evidence, administrative law, corporations, conflict of laws, which is also known as private international law, civil procedure, legal ethics, sometimes called professional responsibility, and a jurisprudence/legal theory or legal history seminar. Our curriculum in this respect is somewhat unique from other Canadian law schools, where the second and third year curriculum is largely or almost entirely optional. The decision to require a number of courses in the upper level program was deliberately and carefully taken to ensure that all of our graduates have had the opportunity to learn the core competencies underlying a general legal education. In the long run, this offers you as a law graduate the best means to respond to different career opportunities and/or career transitions. Another way to put it is, while other law schools talk of the need to keep yourself hydrated, to drink deeply of particular wells, we take you to these wells and tell you to drink. Our upper level jurisprudence, legal history requirement, is also unique. It reflects the belief that an education in the rules, principles, and doctrines of law is somewhat one-dimensional, that rather it should be grounded in a larger context, which explores either the theoretical or historical underpinnings of our legal systems and our laws. This belief that the study of law must be rooted in a larger context is further reflected in many of our optional upper-level courses, which make up the remainder of our program or curriculum. The legal ethics requirement, and as a teacher of legal ethics I'm particularly proud of this, is another unique feature of our curriculum. Our faculty has long recognized the importance of instruction in not only legal rules and processes, but also in the values which are associated with the legal system and its practice. Indeed, our emphasis on legal ethics has been in place for over 35 years and foreshadowed the new Federation of Law Societies requirement that all law graduates seeking entry into the profession in Canada must have taken at least one 3-credit-hour course in legal ethics. We're well positioned. I can tell you other Canadian law schools are scrambling. Typically, each year, the position offers 50 to 60 optional courses, which reflect a broadly based, diverse curriculum, which offers our students an opportunity to study specialized legal topics, to further develop essential legal skills such as counseling, negotiation, oral and written advocacy, and legal research. For example, we offer optional courses in construction law, oil and gas, advanced petroleum law, intellectual property, public international law, personal property security law, family law, constitutional litigation, insurance, and I could go on and on. I simply refer you to our calendar in this respect to gain the full sense of the depth of our specialized offerings. We also, as the Dean has pointed out, offer enhanced opportunities for our students to acquire and develop law-related skills through clinical courses such as those relating to client counseling, negotiation, corporate reorganization and restructuring, alternative dispute resolution, and an extensive competition moot program involving local, regional, and national moot competitions. One of them is ongoing as I speak down the hall in the moot courtroom. We're also very excited about the opportunities offered by a growing number of internships which allow our students to use their knowledge and develop their skills in a number of work settings, an experiential form of education, such as internships with the Provincial Court of Alberta, the Alberta Court of Appeal, the Law Clinic for Low-Income Individuals, and an internship with the Alberta Utilities Commission, to name but a few. Altogether, our optional courses reflect traditional instruction in specialized legal subjects and innovative approaches to the study of law and legal issues. Our jurisprudence legal theory options reflect the growing richness and diversity of Canadian legal education in response to the increased complexity of social, political, and economic issues. For example, we offer legal theory seminars on the law and the Holocaust, democracy and the judiciary, law and emotions, economics and the law. In addition, we offer seminars on health law and policy and seminars on Aboriginal, Indigenous law, and cultural heritage, all areas of particular or growing faculty expertise and emphasis. Finally, to reflect the interconnectedness or globalization of our world, we have broadened significantly, at least over the last 5 years, opportunities for our students to study abroad on exchange or in summer programs. Last year, nearly 30 students participated in exchange opportunities at law schools at universities in Spain, Denmark, Sweden, Australia, China, New Zealand, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. These students assure me that they are looking for a broader opportunity, not an escape from our winter climate. These opportunities can involve taking courses for 1 semester abroad or taking courses at summer programs offered by other law schools in Canada and abroad. In this respect, the faculty itself offers a short spring term course to study comparative and European Union law at the University of Granada in Spain. Finally, our curriculum offers an opportunity to obtain dual JD degrees through a dual degree program at the University of Colorado in Boulder. The University of Colorado in Boulder, in most recent rankings, is shown clearly to be in the top tier of American law schools and is an excellent partner for us in this kind of endeavor. Students will study at both law schools for 4 years, and upon graduation will leave here with an Alberta JD and Colorado with a Colorado JD. They will then be eligible to seek entry into the Alberta Bar or Canadian Bar or any state bar in the United States, as it is an ABA-approved law school. I now turn to instructors and technology. While the curriculum is a key piece of the academic experience, it is not the only piece. Just as a recipe and ingredients are keys to a great dish, they are not the only elements. Much depends on the cooks or chefs and the cooking tools utilized. We are blessed in terms of chefs or cooks, in law school parlance, professors. The Dean in his remarks has highlighted some members of faculty, but they are only a representative, a soupçon of a very strong group of full-time faculty who are graduates at both the undergraduate and graduate level of some of the finest law schools in the world. This is reflected in the growing body of first-class scholarship emanating from the faculty in the form of textbooks, monographs, articles, and other forms of scholarly commentary. Moreover, many of my colleagues have practiced law in public and private settings before they came to law school as teachers. With this background, they are able to blend practice with theory in delivering the balanced legal education which we believe is necessary for entry into the practice of law and thereafter a lifetime of learning. I may be accused of hyperbole, but they are all strong, if not excellent, teachers. This is another unique aspect of this law school. We have put a premium on classroom teaching. In our minds, the role of the law professor involves much more than research, although the two go hand in hand in that good teaching is informed by good research. Full-time faculty are joined by sessionals or adjunct professors, if you like, in the delivery of the program. We are again blessed by the service of a strong, committed cadre of sessional instructors drawn from private practice and from government and other forms of public practice. Their contribution represents the historic connection between this faculty and the legal profession and judiciary in this province. Sessionals bring to the law school the insights gleaned from a broad range of public and private practices. Small firm, boutique firm, large firm, international firm, and work with federal and provincial departments of justice and a wide range of public and quasi-public bodies. They help the law school leaven the academic or scholarly study of law with the experience of law in action and speak to our belief that law consists not solely in the creation and application of rules, but in its practice, in the service of clients in our communities, and in the administration of justice in our society. Finally, the high-quality teaching of our full-time and sessional faculty is enabled and enhanced by a first-rate facility for the teaching of law. Over the last decade, the law school has been the scene of constant renovation, as through the generous donation of our alumni, we have been able to retrofit the school's facilities to take advantage of sea changes in modern technology and in the delivery of instruction. In short, over time we have complemented smart professors with smart classrooms of all kinds. The jewel in the faculty's crown, the Weir Memorial Law Library, one of the great Canadian law libraries, continues to expand and reconfigure its services so as to provide faculty, students, and members of the Alberta legal community with easier and faster access to a mind-boggling array of legal material. Before ending on that high note, I want to make one final observation, and in so doing perhaps abuse my position in relation to a captive audience. I ask for your tolerance for a few seconds more. Throughout my brief remarks, I have made constant reference to opportunities, for that's what I believe legal education, the academic experience, is all about. An opportunity to study and learn the law from highly qualified and experienced teachers in preparation for a career in service to others. As an opportunity, it will not always be fun and games. It will often be an experience marked by small successes, great frustrations, and a degree of anxiety and uncertainty. But remember, it is an opportunity made available to only a few. An opportunity that, if embraced, will lead to not only your betterment, but the betterment of your community and your society. Properly understood, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the promise of legal education offered by this faculty for nearly 100 years. Welcome to the beginning of a lifetime study in law. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, now I'm pleased to introduce a dear friend and one of our distinguished alumni, Jennifer Lamb. She graduated from the Faculty of Law in 2003 and served as the president of the Law Students Association during her time here. She was admitted to the Alberta Bar in 2004 and is currently a partner at Borden Ladner Gervais in Calgary, practicing in the areas of estate law and commercial litigation. Prior to attending law school, she obtained an undergraduate degree at McGill University in political science and economics. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer.
Is that okay? Great. Well, thank you so much to the Faculty of Law for inviting me to speak to you all today. I'd like to extend a welcome and a congratulations to all of the students who have been offered admission for this fall. And to the parents, the significant others, and guests, I'm sure this is an exciting and proud day for you all as your children or spouses are embarking on a new chapter in their lives. I'm here today just to share with you my personal thoughts on the U of A Law School experience. Now, I was born in Edmonton, but raised in Cochrane, and as Farah mentioned, I attended McGill in Montreal, where I completed an undergraduate degree. As an Alberta girl, I very much wanted to come home and ideally attend law school in the province where I was hoping to build my career. So U of A for me in many ways was a very comfortable choice. I had lots of aunts, uncles, and cousins here in Edmonton, and in fact my sister was going into the Faculty of Nursing, so I had an instant roommate. Notwithstanding the supportive family environment around me, I was intimidated and very nervous. Familiar thoughts were that my peers would have had better grades, more interesting experiences, and the like. But I'll never forget my first law school experience. Days before classes started, there was an orientation where there was well over 100 of us gathered here at the Law Center. We were put on an old yellow school bus and shuttled out to a pub in Leduc called Fred's Fun Factory, where we drank beer and became acquainted with our future classmates. So the girl that sat beside me that day on that nervous bus ride was a girl named Laura Estep, who almost 11 years later, we've been bridesmaids in each other's weddings, and she's one of my closest friends. So as classes began, I was taken by surprise at all the various groups, clubs, and organizations that law students were encouraged to join. Now, you're going to hear a lot more about this today, but I would strongly encourage you all to get involved. I did, and within weeks, I genuinely felt like a part of a community, notwithstanding the class size of about 175 students. And to pick up on some of Dean Bryden's comments, before I arrived, I hadn't fully appreciated the very distinguished faculty that U of A has. I'll never forget in those first few months, I was in touch with some of my pals from McGill who were studying law at U of T and the University of Ottawa. And chatting about courses and professors, it really dawned on me that while my friends were reading Lewis Clark's text, he was my tort professor and our dean of the law school at the time. Now, when I got to second year, there was Dean David Percy, who became the dean in third year, who was our oil and gas law professor. Now, another unique experience that U of A offers was our first year mandatory constitutional law moot. I was randomly partnered with this loudmouth gal from U of C named Robin. And similarly to Laura, Robin and I became the best of friends, and we were admitted as BLG's newest partners this past January. Now, you will have an opportunity to not only develop relationships at U of A with your future colleagues in the legal profession, but you may also meet some of the best friends that you'll ever have. Now, first year law school can be very overwhelming, and balancing competing priorities of family, school, and sometimes part-time jobs can be very challenging. I would strongly advise all of you to pick one or two extracurricular activities. Student Legal Services or Pro Bono Students Canada is an excellent place to start. You have an opportunity to meet your fellow students, get to know professors, and to give back to those less fortunate and in need of legal representation. So my student experience was really nothing short of outstanding. In first year, I did SLS, I was on the articling committee, and I also got involved in the CBA mentoring program. In second year, I was the co-chair of the articling committee and also continued along with SLS. Third year, president of the Law Student Association and being an actor in Law Show really capped off 3 years of an amazing experience. Now, U of A's social events were also fabulous. You have Friday afternoon beer socials, you have the Carbolic Smoke Ball, which is the formal event, and you also have golf tournaments and ski trips. All of this involvement taught me two invaluable skills that lawyers need to be successful, and that was time management and balancing priorities. I think U of A fosters an environment that allows us to hone these skills as soon as possible. Now, I've seen firsthand that U of A is the perfect training ground for successful lawyers. I've been involved over the past 4 years with BLG's recruitment efforts, both summer students and articling students. Last fall, I attended the East Meets West Days at the U of T, where we conducted interviews of all the Ontario law schools. I came back and we did U of A interviews a few weeks later. Now, as a student committee, we've continued to be so impressed with the quality of students that are coming out of U of A. And while we can't put our finger on exactly what that is, U of A is doing something right. Now, marks are very important, but it's also the student life experience that U of A encourages you all to be involved in. I had several discussions with some of my fellow graduates and friends in preparing my remarks for today, and I wanted to offer a few words of advice to all of you that I hope might be helpful as you embark on your legal education. We'd encourage you to enjoy the whole experience and try not to stress out, because it is very overwhelming, but it goes by very, very fast. There are many, many paths to success. Summer jobs are a huge sort of daunting pressure as you go into first year, but there are many different ways to find an enjoyable and very rewarding legal career. And echoing the results of the survey of student engagement, U of A Law School is a fabulous choice, and if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. So best of luck to all of you as you embark on your legal educations. I truly hope that you'll strongly consider attending U of A if you hadn't yet made your decision. And I just wish you all the very best.
Big thanks to Jennifer. It's my pleasure to introduce our next set of speakers. Collectively, they're probably one of the most valuable resources we have as students at the faculty. Sarah Wolgamuth, Andrea Menard, Gloria Strathern, and Pat Neal all operate in distinct capacities, which they'll share a little bit about with you. But their overall objective is the same, and that's to ensure that we as students have the best quality experience while we're at law school. So please welcome me, or join me in welcoming Sarah, Pat, Andrea, and Gloria.
Just wait till my colleagues get down here. Thank you, Marcus. Good morning, everyone. I'll add to the multiple welcomes that have been extended. It's always an exciting day for me as a member of Student Services and a member of the Admissions Committee to have seen your names represented in student files in our office ever since our application opened last July 1st, to have many of you here today. So, as Marcus said, my name is Sarah Wolgamuth, and I'm the Director of Student Services here in the law school. Maybe you guys can come over in the middle here. I feel like we're hiding from this side of the room. I'm very lucky to work with such a dedicated team of student services professionals. You'll hear from Andrea and Pat in a moment, but I'd also like to acknowledge Kim Wilson, our admissions coordinator, who couldn't be here today, and I'm sure Kim Wilson's name is familiar to all of you if you've been checking your correspondence from us, and Gloria Strathern, our student services assistant. So Gloria isn't going to say anything right now, but you'll have a chance to talk to Gloria during the Knowledge Cafe portion of the day and also during lunch. Gloria and Kim really are the women power behind our admissions and prizes and awards process. If you have questions relating to scholarships or bursaries, I'd encourage you to ask Gloria or myself later today, and I'll have a little bit of information here in a minute. My job in Student Services is to organize events and programs that support our students as they transition into law school through events like today and our orientation event in September. And the orientation, Jennifer mentioned a yellow school bus to Leduc. It looks a little different now. We've made some changes. And so continue to support students throughout their time here, all the way straight through to convocation. We're closely connected with our university student services to ensure our students are referred to the services that they need, whether it be emergency student funding, the Student Health Center, or student counseling. We also work closely with our Law Students Association and student clubs, which you will soon learn more about from our current president, Marnie Prattle. And as you've heard echoed from, I think, all of our speakers so far today, our law school community is a very tight-knit collegial group that, as student service providers, I know it makes my job easy, pleasurable, that the students really are fantastic, and you'll be unleashed on them shortly. And some of them are here already watching. So moving on to scholarships and bursaries. One aspect our office deals with is information, advice, and resources relating to financing your legal education. Our law school is dedicated to awarding academic excellence and leadership, as well as providing much needed financial support through our scholarship and bursary program. Financing your legal education is something that we encourage you to start planning now if you haven't already thought about how am I going to pay for law school. We've included a resource sheet in your bag today. I believe it's copied just on a white piece of paper, and it's essentially just a list of different websites if you haven't found it already. The Registrar's Office website is where you can find tuition rates for next year. They haven't been posted for the 2011-2012 academic year. So if you go there now to see tuition amounts, you'll see the current year. So that should be updated fairly soon. In terms of planning, one of the first considerations that we recommend is a government student loan. If you weren't eligible during your last degree, please don't assume that you are still ineligible. In that now that you're joining a professional faculty, the rules do change a little bit. One of the links on the resource sheet is a student financial assistance estimator, And you can go to this website and you can plug in some of your numbers, and it can give you an estimation of what type of eligibility you might have for certain loans. So that's a good place to start if you, again, if you haven't already started planning. The reason that we recommend the government student loan, as most of you probably know, is that there's no interest accrued while you're a student, and there is the possibility of loan remission once you're finished. Moving on to funding, our office also deals with the Faculty of Law Scholarship and Bursary Program. If you choose to accept our offer of admission, and I know many of you already have, which is fantastic, we're going to be sending you a package in April, usually the end of April. Yes, Gloria is nodding. That contains information on our scholarships and bursaries. It'll contain detailed information on each one, eligibility information, and how to apply. So the applications, again, you'll get in about a month or so, and they're due back in June. So we give you lots of time for those. Last year alone, we awarded over $1 million to students. This is for all of our students. And of this amount, over a third was given to first-year students. Of that amount, about 43% was dedicated towards scholarships and course prizes, 53% went to bursaries, and 4% went to awards that recognized service, leadership, and other awards. And just a reminder that myself, Gloria, and Kim Wilson, we're all here to answer any questions and essentially walk you through the process. So you can ask us questions today. If you're in Edmonton and you want to come in person, please feel free to drop in or make an appointment or give us a call or send us an email. So moving on to sort of what's next, we get a lot of questions, especially after today and after those of you that are current students finish your semester, those of you that will accept our offer. We get phone calls that sound, so hello, you know, my name is so-and-so and I'm coming to law school in September and I feel like I should be doing something. So I'm here to tell you today that there's not really anything to do. The application process is finished. So whatever you're doing now, you can continue to do that. It's really up to you. Other than the prizes and awards application, which I've mentioned, there's nothing else that we really need from you. The course registration, as Vice Dean Law pointed out, is a set curriculum. So because there is a first-year class of 175 students, Kim Wilson sets the timetable. So she will register you in your courses and mail you your timetable. So those of you that are past U of A students will remember registering in Bear Tracks. You will get a notification sometime in the summer that Bear Tracks is open and you are eligible to register. You won't be able to because we're going to do it for you and literally send you your timetable. So for those of you that have been are a student recently, it can feel strange not to be creating a timetable. We just take care of it for you. That's how helpful we are here. Relating to registration is course materials. A lot of people want to purchase their course materials, their casebooks and their textbooks and get started. I'm here to tell you, wait, you have lots of time. We actually make the casebooks in-house in the summer, so they aren't even available to purchase until you get here in September. So maybe pick up something to read for pleasure this summer instead, and that you'll have lots of reading waiting for you in the fall. In about June or July, we'll also send you a link to our first year resources page on our website, and this will have more information about orientation, again, course materials, all of that type of thing. If you've been going on our website and clicking under prospective student for however long you've been researching law schools, you've now been promoted to the current student link, so congratulations. There's lots of good stuff in there for you, so make sure you're navigating that properly. And we'll also send out more information about our orientation, which is mandatory. And the night before, our Law Students Association will host a pre-orientation, and they'll also be getting in touch with you with related information about that. So that's all from me right now. Again, I'll see you during the Knowledge Cafe portion of the day. And if you have any questions about student services, funding your legal education, or international opportunities, you're also welcome to ask me. I will also add that we do have a representative from Resident Services. His name is Chris Fukushima. He will also be here during the Knowledge Cafe. So if you have specific questions about on-campus housing, then you'll essentially run into him on the tour. So if you have any questions, make sure you keep those for him. So I'll now pass things over to my colleague, Andrea Menard. Thank you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Treaty 6 territory. Congratulations on getting into U of A. I never got in. I got into UBC, so this was my first choice. And so now I'm here in director capacity, so I'm really proud to be here. This is an excellent faculty. It's pro-Aboriginal friendly, so Aboriginal people flourish here. My office is very much supported here. We're allowed to do a lot of things I didn't think that would happen, like we hung our red dresses last week in remembrance of the missing and murdered Aboriginal women across this nation. And because of faculty, staff, and student support, we're able to push Aboriginal initiatives here at the Faculty of Law, University of Alberta. So I'm very proud to be here. So a little bit about myself. I got in as an Aboriginal applicant. So the Aboriginal category really works for the Aboriginal students. There are, some of your Aboriginal colleagues will be accepted under the regular category, so there's no stigmatizing attached to the Aboriginal category. I just wanted to make that clear. Why my office is here? Well, it's kind of obvious. If you've ever been in court or in jail, there's an overrepresentation of Aboriginal people there. We are trying to change things at the academic level in order to understand Aboriginal people more and to apply Indigenous law more, because it's not working right now. So this is why my office is here originally, and it's also to help Aboriginal students here at the Faculty of Law and support them culturally, academically, and in any other way. We do lots of stuff together. Also, non-Aboriginal students are welcome into my office and into the Aboriginal Law Students Association. Please come. We're getting bigger and bigger each year, and we're doing a lot of really neat stuff. So everyone is welcome into my office. Everyone is welcome to the Aboriginal Law Students Association. What else okay, so what I do is academically for everyone, I offer the peer mentor program. So it's an upper year student peer mentoring a first year student. So I've chosen 5 upper year students who are friendly and who are well-rounded, and one of my peer mentors is actually Marcus. So Marcus, you haven't talked about peer mentoring.
I'm getting to that.
Okay. So please take advantage of the peer mentoring available once you get here. We care about you, and we care about your success. So we want to see you achieve the best that you can be. What else? Oh, exam series seminar sessions. So I hold 4 or 5. It's how to do exams, because we all know that law school exams in first year are 100%. So I offer some exam tips. I get guest professors in here, and they tell you how to write their exams. So that's pretty helpful sometimes. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say, and I will pass it on to my colleague, Pat Neal.
I'm the Career Development Officer here, and I look forward to getting to know you if you come to this law school in the near future. I was a graduate of this school many years ago, and Jen Lepp, who was just speaking, I don't know if she's still here or not, I don't see her. She was here the first year I came, and she was the head of the articling committee, and I think without her support, it would have been a more difficult year for me, because when I came to law school, there was no career services office. When you were looking for a job, you kind of in third year, you thought, oh, maybe I should go look through the yellow pages in the phone book and find out what law firms there are around, wherever I wanted to be. And that's kind of how you found your job, essentially. So it was a much different scenario many years ago. So anyways, Jen Lepp was a great support to me, and you know, since I came here, I tried to come up with some ideas to help the students in their search for their career path. The most traditional career path is to look for an articling position after law school and then go to a firm or government or some other type of legal work. So there are many paths you can follow. The traditional one most of the time is to go to a firm, or where most of our students go. To do this, you have to do this articling period. It's like an apprenticeship. In Alberta, it's a 12-month period at a law firm, and you have to do this a bar ad course called CPLED during the same time. Other provinces, there are similar requirements, not quite the same, but similar requirements. So essentially in Canada, Quebec, you'd have to do a little bit more. I don't want to go into that exception. You do have to go through the articling period to be admitted to the bar and become a lawyer. My job is to help you in that process. And what do? I provide you opportunities. I provide resources, I provide guest speakers, and give you all the chances I can to help you in your choices and to get you connected to the profession. So how do I do that? Well, one of the ways that I do that is through on-campus interviews, and maybe you might even hear this thrown around by some of the students you see later on in the Knowledge Cafe, and they act an acronym to it. It's called OCIs. And OCIs are on-campus interviews where we get people, or from representatives from firms from Alberta, mostly Edmonton and Calgary. In Alberta, we get firms from Toronto, we get firms from Vancouver who come in and do an interview with you for summer jobs, articles, or whatever. Mostly summer jobs for the OCIs. So, and often those summer jobs do lead to an articling position. So that's one of the ways that I try to help you in your search for your career. Another thing that we do is firm hops. And we started this out one year where we decided, well, we've got to get more of the Vancouver firms here, maybe some more of the Toronto firms here, and our students also get exposure to them. Because if the student goes onto a website for a firm, in Vancouver, for example, you don't really know much other than what the website says. So we thought, well, we would go into the firm, and it's amazing the comments the students make when they come out, and some students have a completely different image of the firm, but it also gives them a feeling if they want to be there or not. So it's a really, really good opportunity, and that's just one example. So we do a firm hop where we run from firm to firm to firm. We do about 4 or 5 or 6 a day. And they wine and dine us, and or they tour us, and they do all kinds of neat things, and we get to know them, and they get to know us, and it's a wonderful experience. So that's one of the other things that I do. Another thing that I do is to provide exposure to you to figure yourself out a little bit more where you want to go, is a job shadowing program. And we do this one day during the year where students go into a law firm and they figure out, what exactly is involved in being in a law firm for the day. And a lot of times it leads to a good mentorship with that particular firm. It may lead to jobs. It may lead to just to figure out you don't want to be doing ABC, that type of law ever in your life. You want to do something else. So it's a good method to figure out what you want to do later on. So that's another thing that we do. The three big career fairs we have a career day in the fall. We go to the Crown Plaza. Everybody gets dressed up in their suits. The firms come. It's mostly Alberta and BC firms that are there. And you have a luncheon together. You get to meet the firms. And then we have a career portion later on where everybody kind of goes around the Crown Plaza banquet room and meets the different firms. So that's our really big career day event in the fall. In the spring, we have 2 big, I don't call them big career days. We have a public law career day. So if your choice is to go maybe to government or some organization that does not necessarily charitable work, but that more government or non-governmental work on a nonprofit basis, this is a really good opportunity to find out a little bit more about those types of careers, whether right after law school or later on in life. Another one that we do is a small firm day, and we just had that this week, and we get firms to come in from wherever, a lot of times from BC and Alberta, some small firms. We had people from St. Paul, firms from St. Paul, we had one from Peace River. Our Red Deer firms tried to come, but they got caught in a snowstorm. We had we had Stony Plain firms, we had some small Edmonton firms, so there were quite a few here. And the students actually had a chance to chat with them because they don't often come to some of the big career day events. So it's a wonderful opportunity for students who make that career choice. So we had that last week. And in January, we also have another event called Family Law Affair. And that particular, it's kind of not quite a career day, is we get some family law practitioners in to talk about their practice to the students, and so they can learn a little bit more about it, because there's a huge need right now for family law lawyers. There's a huge hole in the profession that needs to be filled. So we do that one as well. The other things I do are noon hour seminars, and there's a whole list of them about how to write a resume, what do you need to apply for a clerkship in the different levels of court, how to write a CV for graduate studies or an internship, international opportunities in law. There's all kinds of seminars that we do during the year, and it's suggested that you pick and come to quite a few of them at least once through your 3-year career. The other thing that I do is one-on-one counseling, which is one of the favorite parts of my job, where you come in and see me and I help you with your application. We discuss what you want to do, and sometimes, through discussion, we come up with some conclusions as to what you may find is what you really, really want in your career. So that's a lot of what I do. I also have a job posting service, which is exclusive to the U of A law students and alums. So I just wanted to let you know that. I have students from other schools wanting to get into that posting site on a regular basis, but it is, if you do come to this school, that is for your benefit. Anyways, I'd love to meet with you during the Knowledge Cafe and talk a little bit more about what I do, and I hope you choose this school. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'd like to introduce two of our own students to speak to you, Marnie Prattle and Ben Lowtree. Marnie is the president of our Law Students Association. She grew up in the interior of BC and completed her undergraduate degree in psychology at the University of Calgary. She's in her 3rd year of law school and will be returning to Calgary to article. Ben is the executive director of Student Legal Services. Prior to attending law school, he completed an undergraduate degree in business at the University of Alberta. He's in his 2nd year of law school and a member of the Golden Barristers Rugby Club, and he also enjoys long walks on the beach. Please welcome Marnie.
Okay, hello everyone. So as Farah said, my name is Marnie Prattle and I'm the current president of the Law Students Association. So up here we have a photo of our current executive. We're actually coming to the end of our term. At the end of next week, the new executive will be voted in. So some of these people will be here next year, but some of them will not. But they will be equally as enthusiastic as I am about all the opportunities to get involved here at the U of A. So like you've heard from Ms. Lamb and a few other presenters, we have obviously a great academic program, but the U of A Faculty of Law is also very proud of all the opportunities we have for you guys to get involved, whether it's sports or different various clubs, ping pong, wine, whatever you're interested in, we have a club for you. And if we don't have a club, then we encourage you to make a club. So as a just brief overview of the LSA, the purpose of the LSA is to act as a liaison between the faculty's administration, the Students' Union, and the U of A students. Every fall, we offer memberships to every student, and I think this year about 450 out of 500 students signed up for a membership. So some of the benefits of the membership, I'll just go through them briefly, are an opportunity to purchase cans. Cans are condensed annotated notes, and they're essentially notes that we've purchased from upper year students to sell to 1st year, 2nd year students to sort of help you with your classes. They're a reference material. They're obviously not a substitution for books, but they're just an extra reference that you can use. We also coordinate intramural sports for law students through campus recreation. So if you buy a membership, you can participate in intramural sports for free, and you can participate in any sport generally that you want. We publish the Who's Who, which is a student directory. So essentially, every LSA member has a photo and contact information in our Who's Who, and you'll get one of those later in the fall. And so if you need to contact someone for notes, or you need to contact a head of a club, that would be the place where you would get that information. We also do an annual yearbook, which comes out every fall, and access to the locker room. So in 1st year, you're going to have a lot of books, and they're going to be very heavy, and you're not going to want to trudge them back and forth between your house and school, so you'll probably leave them in the locker room. So excuse me, some of the social events that we organize are pre-orientation, which was already mentioned. We still have the yellow school bus, but we don't take you to Leduc anymore. We have another activity that'll sort of be a surprise the night of pre-orientation. And then there's also the Faculty of Law orientation and Dean's Barbecue, which is mandatory for all students. That same week on the Friday is going to be the first Friday back, so that's one of the bigger parties of the year. All years go to that party, and it's usually at an undisclosed location, and it's a good time. Then sort of throughout the year, we have Friday afternoon beers, FABs they're called. So various clubs host these FABs, and they're actually downstairs in the Gavel, and we serve alcohol. And this year we had an extreme gaming FAB, so it was like ping pong and foosball, so various FABs throughout the year. Vin Ordinaire, which is a club that's on campus dedicated to wine tasting and everything wine, they host 2 events throughout the year, one in the fall and one in the winter, and anyone is welcome to attend those. We also have the MedLaw Mixer in the spring, so we get together with the MedLaw Students Association and organize sort of a night out so we can get to know another faculty. In December, we have the LSA Children's Holiday Party. So this is for students and faculty and their children. We have it downstairs in the Gavel. We have a magician. We have Santa Claus comes and hands out presents. So for anyone with small children, that's a good event. We also have, in February, we have Carbolic Smoke Ball, which is our annual formal event. It's usually held at the Crown Plaza. So everyone gets dressed up and has a nice evening together, dinner and dance. We have the LSA Children's Movie Night in the spring. So this year we showed How to Train Your Dragon. So that's also an event for faculty, staff, and their young children. And then the last big party is the end of exams party. So generally the last day of exams, we have sort of a big party for everyone, and it's definitely one of our better attended events. So one of the big things in the Faculty of Law is sports. So if you're involved or interested in any sport, we probably have it available to you. Like I said before, the LSA does coordinate the intramural program with Campus Rec. So if there's a team, we usually have all teams, but if there's a team that you're interested in starting, you can contact our VP Sports and he or she will be able to set that up for you. We also have the El Jaco Golf Tournament in the fall, which is a sort of, everyone dresses up. There's, I think, prizes for costumes, and everyone goes out and does a round of golf before the snow shows up. We have Laza Beach, which is also a bit of a dress-up event. It's a baseball tournament that we have just, I think it's a few blocks away, so it's a good event as well. We have 2 rugby teams at the University of Alberta. We have the men's Golden Barristers, and we have the women's Panda Barristers rugby teams. So the men's has been around for quite a few years. The women's is a more recent development, but we have 2 games. The men's have 2 games and the women have 2 games, I think.
Yeah, the men play a tournament that rotates between Calgary, Vancouver, and Edmonton every 3 years, and then we also have a big alumni game.
Yeah, and the women as well. The U of C has just started their rugby team as well, so we've been playing against them. And we also have an alumni event the same weekend as the men. We have 3 hockey teams. We have the Tortfeasors, which are the men's Tier 1 hockey team. They're quite competitive, and you have to try out to be on that team, I do believe. We also have the Litigators, which are a Tier 2 team. A little less competitive. I think there's no contact in that game. And then we have Swift Justice, which is the women's team, which is pretty much no experience necessary. We have people who showed up this year who barely knew how to skate. So we encourage everyone to come out and try to play hockey. We even had some exchange students, some French exchange students play this year, so it's a good time. In January, right after Christmas break, there's law games. So last year was held in Montreal, and it's a good way to meet other schools, to play some interesting games against other schools. I don't know if anyone has heard of kinball, but that's a big sport during law games. And then we have ski trip in January. These past 2 years we've gone to Kimberley, and it's been a pretty good time. We also have ELSA Snowshoe Race. So this is the Environmental Law Students Association. They do a big snowshoe race out in the, what's it called? The cab? Is that what it's called? Anyway, sorry, it's on campus and it's just a big snowshoe race to raise funds for an environmental law group. And then finally, we have the Funspiel curling tournament in March. So that just happened last week. So as I said before, we have quite a few sports going on here, but rugby and hockey are probably our biggest ones. So, and one of the biggest things that events that you'll probably hear about is Law Show. So Law Show is probably one of the biggest and best of its kind, I would say. We have approximately 180 students, 175 students who participate every year. There's options to be part of the band, to be a singer, to be an actor, to be a dancer, or to be in production. So if you don't want to be on the stage, you want to be behind the scenes, there's tons of opportunities to get involved. And in the fall, they'll start recruiting for that. I'm not sure what the theme is, but this year the theme was Dracula. So we do a bit of a spin on a pop culture title, and usually it raises approximately $30,000 for a charity that we've selected. So there's other opportunities to get involved as well. I'll just briefly mention a few. Cannons of Construction is our sort of student newspaper that we put together. I think it's published about 5 or 6 times every year. You have one in your swag bag that you can look at if you'd like, just to get a feeling for what it's for. But pretty much any topic you want to write on, you can probably write on it. So definitely a good way to put your writing skills to use. We also have the Alberta Law Review, which is an opportunity to review academic papers written by students and professors, and some of our other law clubs. So there's a long list of them there. I won't read them all. One that I should highlight is EGGS, which is the Extreme Gavel Gaming Society. This was a group that was actually put together this past year, so some students noticed there was an opportunity. We have our ping pong table and our foosball table and the gavel downstairs, which are 2 pretty popular stress relievers throughout the year. So they put together this society this year, and it's actually been very popular. So you can create a group, and it can take off. So if anyone has any questions, I encourage you'll be stopping by the LSA office in room 157 during your sort of tour of the Law Center, and we'll have some executives in there to answer any questions you might have. As well, we have a website which is usually regularly updated, and it's lawstudentsassociation.com. And we're also on Facebook. We have Law Students Association group, as well as most of you may have noticed you do have a class of 2014 set up already. People are already posting on the wall, asking questions, talking with each other. So if you haven't joined that group, I would definitely encourage you to join that group. That's everything. So I'll leave it to Ben Lawtree, who is the Executive Coordinator of Student Legal Services.
Hello everybody, welcome. As mentioned, I am the Executive Coordinator of Student Legal Services, and I'm a second-year law student, so I should just tell you what an opportunity that is for me to be able to get this position. You've heard a lot about Student Legal Services today. I'm sure people have mentioned it, that it was an important part of their law school career. It's been a 40-year-old project. It was basically started by a group of students who just wanted to get out in the community and help those who had no legal knowledge and had no real access to legal information. And in that 40 years, Student Legal Services has grown and become a fixture in the legal community now, as I'm sure you'll notice and have heard throughout these speeches today. This year we had 265 law students volunteer. The students have shown just such a commitment. Everybody donates their time throughout the school year, and it's just a great honor to see that. It's really an opportunity for students to help those that have no other legal access, basically. We help the most disadvantaged in Edmonton through a variety of different projects. There are basically four different projects with Student Legal Services. Our busiest project is the Criminal Law Project. In this, we actually go into provincial court and represent people who have been charged with a variety of crimes. They've been charged with what's called summary conviction offenses, in which so things such as DUIs, assaults, and basically they have very little understanding of what their rights are. And without us, they would be getting no representation today. So we are able to provide them a service that otherwise they wouldn't have. Our second branch is the Family and Civil Law Project. In that, mainly what we do is answer questions. We help people with residential tenancy disputes, difficulties between them and their landlords, perhaps, small claims court. And in these, you may get to help out students students or those that have no other opportunity. Our third branch is Pro Bono Students Canada. In that, you work with a lawyer, and there'll be a day leader, an upper year student. You just volunteer. It's not that much commitment. You basically work with them and with a charity, and you create a report to provide them. You'll review their bylaws of some sort. It really gives them the ability to some legal information they would not otherwise have. Our final group is the Legal Education Reform, and this basically parodies what the creation of Student Legal Services was. Students will go out in the community, meet with people that in homeless shelters, and just answer questions they have, and basically explain the rights they don't understand or don't know. I encourage all of you to come out. We have a wine and cheese in the fall, and volunteer. Basically, Student Legal Services allows students a different view of what they will be doing in their careers. You come to law school and this faculty does an amazing job of teaching you the law, but you don't actually get to see it in practice till you come out and get to go to court and experience, see a different side of what it's like to actually help people and represent them. So anyways, that's me. I'll be here to answer any questions you have, and thank you very much for your time.
I'd like to thank all of our wonderful speakers again this morning. Now we'll be moving on to the Knowledge Cafe portion of our day. So you'll have the chance to meet some upper years more informally, ask questions in small groups, and tour our law school. There are student leaders at the back, and they will be holding a number that corresponds to the number on your name tag. Groups 1 to 5 should be on this side, and 6 to 10 should mostly be on that side. So when we break, please follow your student leader out into the hall, and they will let you know what you're going to be doing for the afternoon.
Yeah, and feel free to leave your bags and coats here.
Leave your things here. Lunch is at 12. And please come back at 1:45.